Hello everyone, my name is Dina, and today I'll be presenting a case study on the disappearance of Amy Bradley and how groupthink played a major role in how her case was handled. We'll explore what happened, how group dynamics affected the investigation, and what we can learn from this tragedy. Let's start with a few questions to think about. What happens when a group of people, especially in high-pressure roles, choose to agree rather than think critically? Could that desire for harmony actually harm others? In Amy's case, I'll show how early assumptions and a need to avoid conflict may have hurt the investigation. Amy Lynn Bradley was 23 years old when she disappeared from a Royal Caribbean cruise in 1998. She was last seen in the early morning on her stateroom balcony, but by 6 a.m. she was gone. Over the years, there have been reported sightings, but no confirmed answers. Her family has never stopped searching. The Netflix series Amy Bradley is Missing explores her story and the mishandling of the case. Right away, cruise staff and investigators assumed Amy had fallen overboard, even though there was no evidence to support that. This quick decision shaped how the investigation moved forward. According to Levy and Askey 2020, when group members try to avoid disagreement, they often stop thinking critically or question each other. Groupthink happens when a team or group wants to stay in agreement so badly that they ignore better options or important details. Levy and Askey 2020 describe how strong team unity, especially under stress, can stop people from speaking up. In Amy's case, that silence and early agreement caused long-term damage. Amy's case is a strong example of groupthink. The cruise ship's crew and early investigators focused too quickly on the overboard theory. The team likely felt pressure to resolve the issue fast and avoid alarming the passengers. Sadly, this meant other possibilities like abduction weren't taken seriously early on. Three clear signs of groupthink showed up here. First, there was an illusion of agreement. Most people went along with the accident story. Second, they rationalized that Amy must have fallen, ignoring facts that didn't support it. Third, her family, who disagreed, were seen as overly emotional instead of credible. These are all warnings that Levy and Askey 2020 warn us about in group behavior. These decisions had real consequences. The investigation was delayed, evidence was lost, and people who may have been involved were never questioned. Amy's family had to push investigators to explore other theories. All of this shows how groupthink doesn't just affect meetings or projects, it can deeply impact lives. The media also played a role through something called pack journalism. According to Matusits and Breen 2012, this is when reporters follow each other's stories instead of asking new questions. That's exactly what happened here. Most of the early media repeated the same story. Amy fell, even though there were no facts behind that. So how do we stop groupthink? One way is to assign someone the role of devil's advocate. Someone who challenges group ideas on purpose. Another way is to invite people from the outside of the group to share input. Levy and Askey 2020 say this helps break the pressure to agree. And finally, It's important to separate public relations from actual crisis management, especially in a sensitive case. Sadly, Amy's case is still unresolved. Groupthink, in the early investigation, probably cost valuable time and leads. According to Levy and Askey 2020, teams that don't challenge their own assumptions tend to repeat mistakes. In this case, no one truly held the early decision makers accountable, and the family continues the search with very little support. Here are the sources I used for this presentation. This includes Levy and Askey's work on team dynamics, journal articles on groupthink and pack journalism, and the Netflix documentary that inspired this case study. Thank you for listening, and I am happy to answer any questions. Thank you.